about buying drugs that are used for weight loss with illegal websites promising discounts and alternate medications. ABC's Becky Worley with more on the potential risks and what you need to know.
Websites like these promise deals on the popular drugs used for weight loss like Ozempic, Wegovy, and Mounjaro. But experts tell GMA they have no way of knowing what's actually in the medications that many of these sites are selling.
Even if you assume that the medication is the correct substance, if this is not processed correctly and it's not sterile, there's infectious concerns. People really have to be careful because this leap of faith of ordering something that you are self-injecting at home is a big problem. I personally would not expose myself to that risk.
Dr. Al Carter of the National Association of Boards of Pharmacy, who's in charge of overseeing online pharmacies, says many websites selling drugs for weight loss appear to be operating illegally by not requiring a prescription and operating without a license.
There are around 30 to 35,000 pharmacies that are acting illegally. Yes, and our digital health team finds on any given day around 20 pharmacies, new pharmacies, that are operating illegally.
This looks so professional.
Right. It looks totally like the legitimate one.
In a matter of minutes, Justin Macy at the Boards of Pharmacy finds websites posing as pharmacies, which he says are illegal. Like this website that has pictures with unique U.S. drug identification numbers, but claims that it ships out of Canada, which is against the law and a clear red flag.
Where to buy Wegovy in Canada. We come down here, again, we see these identification numbers. These are U.S. markings on these products.
But your layperson wouldn't know that.
And shows how they are promoting brand name versions of the drugs.
The reason, by the way, that this looks so legitimate is because this is the actual Wegovy website.
Oh, they totally ripped it off.
They just totally ripped off the manufacturer's website.
Other unlicensed websites promise a compounded version. Dr. Constantino Spaniola says many of his patients are eager to get these medications, and some are turning to these sites.
There's a huge percent of the population who is looking for these medications with limited access, whether we said it's from insurance or availability. Patients are trying to get the medications ordered online, but people have to be very careful.
Now, the FDA says it is risky and potentially dangerous to purchase prescription drugs on the internet or from unregulated, unlicensed sources without a prescription. FDA-approved prescription drugs should be obtained only with a valid prescription and used under prescriber's supervision or based on their direction.
How can you figure out if the pharmacy you're looking at online is legitimate or fraudulent?
Being able to fill a prescription without a prescription should be a clear red flag to any patient. But it's still difficult because some of these are really good.
Outside with live cam, Sarah Spivey gave us some really good news a while ago. The latest average day we hit 90. Something like that.
Yeah,
it's way into October.
90 degree.
Yeah, so
we have so much to look forward to. Thank you.
Oh my goodness, you're welcome. Honestly, though, it is nice to see the light at the end of the tunnel, isn't it? So we are expected to see temperatures eventually cool down, just not over the next several days. Outside right now, it is 88 degrees. 88 right now at noon. That's usually our high temperature this time of year. So we're already at our average high. 90 at Stinson, 86 in Uvalde, 86 in Bandera, and 86 in Canyon Lake. You factor in the humidity, it feels like it's in the low 90s in San Antonio. It feels like it's in the upper 90s in Bulverde and in New Braunfels. Picking up your kids today after school, 96 degrees. Odds are you won't see rain, but there is a 20% chance for a downpour. You may have to turn on the windshield wipers once or twice if you're driving all around the city. Coming up in the forecast, will rain across Texas help the drought situation? I'll show you. Coming up in just a few minutes. David.
Thank you, Sarah. Philadelphia police searching for more suspects after they say more than 100 juveniles stormed into retail stores across the city. They're accused of stealing from stores including Foot Locker and Apple. Video shows people running with handfuls of stolen merchandise. Authorities swarmed the scene, finding stores left completely gutted. The looting came hours after a Philadelphia judge dismissed charges against former police officer Mark Dial in the shooting death of 27-year-old Eddie Izzari. However, police say that looting is not believed to be in connection to the outrage sparked by that judge's decision.
It had nothing to do with the protest. What we had tonight was a bunch of criminal opportunists take advantage of a situation and make an attempt to destroy our city.
Police did arrest 15 at the scene last night, and officers say they also recovered 2 firearms.
More legal troubles for former President Donald Trump. A New York judge ruled he and his adult sons committed years of financial fraud. The judge says they inflated the net worth of the Trump organization's assets by as much as $2.2 billion. The court found that Trump valued his Mar-a-Lago estate 20 times higher than it's worth, $600 million compared to the assessed value, which is $27 million. This all comes as part of a case that New York Attorney General Letitia James first filed last year. She sued Trump, his eldest sons, and his company for $250 million. Trump is vowing to appeal the ruling.
Democratic U.S. Senator Bob Menendez of New Jersey has been ordered released on a $100,000 bond after pleading not guilty to federal charges.
This stems from a case accusing him of pocketing bribes of cash and gold bars. Prosecutors say Menendez used his political influence to secretly help the Egyptian government.
ABC's Liz Landers with the growing number of lawmakers now asking him to step down.
Senator Bob Menendez, his wife Nadine, and two other co-defendants appearing for their arraignment in a Manhattan federal court today on bribery and extortion charges, allegations they strongly deny. The senior senator from New Jersey charged with allegedly accepting bribes, some in the form of gold bars, a Mercedes-Benz, and $480,000 in cash found in his New Jersey home from a businessman looking to secure favorable deals with Egypt. Menendez saying the cash was legally obtained.
For 30 years, I have withdrawn thousands of dollars in cash from my personal savings account, which I have kept for emergencies.
But Menendez not directly addressing the gold bars or the prosecutor's allegations that he gave secret information to a foreign government.
Senator Menendez allegedly provided sensitive, non-public U.S. government information to Egyptian officials.
The senator, who stepped down as the chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, remaining defiant.
Why won't you resign, sir? Senator Menendez? Because I'm innocent. What's wrong with you guys?
Though more than 24 of his fellow Democratic Senate colleagues are calling on him to step down.
These serious and illegal allegations in the indictment against Senator Menendez are deeply troubling. Like any criminal defendant, Senator Menendez is entitled to a presumption of innocence and a full trial, but I think he should resign.
The federal indictment is full of eyebrow-raising allegations, including that the Egyptian-American businessman had Nadine Menendez on his payroll for a company, but it was a low or no-show job. In Washington, Liz Landers, ABC News.
Amazon now facing a lawsuit. The FTC and 17 states accuse the online retail giant of illegally inflating prices for consumers. A look at what this means for shoppers coming up after the break. We might actually get to see some fresh shows and some new content on TV. The Writers Guild Board has voted to authorize members to go back to work, effective ending the months-long strike that has paralyzed the industry. The unanimous vote follows a tentative agreement reached Sunday between union negotiators and Hollywood's studios and streaming services. They voted to lift the restraining order and the strike. The agreement allows writers to return to work during the ratification process. However, union members may still reject the terms of the deal. Eligible members will be able to vote from October 2nd through October 9th.
Amazon is heading to court over accusations that it is manipulating shoppers, forcing them to spend more money on its site. A new lawsuit alleges that Amazon buries products with better prices than their own in the search results. U.S. regulators in 17 states filed the lawsuit against Amazon this week. That suit accuses the company of actively driving out competition and inflating the prices for shoppers and fees for sellers. The lawsuit alleges Amazon keeps sellers from lowering prices by burying links to the sellers that offer the better prices elsewhere. They effectively become invisible in your search results. Regulators also claim that Amazon further stifles competition by coercing sellers into using Amazon's costly fulfillment service. The business owners say that, they're frustrated.
It's created a very difficult retail market for anybody in the retail business. We have to more than double our prices in order to compensate for all the fees, in order to break even.
In a statement, Amazon says the Federal Trade Commission has its facts wrong. The company says it looks forward to fighting these accusations in court.
Once again, outside with Last Game, we've had spits and drizzles, as Mike would say, just a little bit of rain. But there's actually some green that is popping up.
There is,
and
I think it's because we're starting to get a little bit more dew in the morning. To allow for greener pastures, as they say. The aquifer is down, though, 0.2 of a foot over the past 24 hours. We really could use some water for the aquifer. So here's some good news. The pollen count shows that molds continue to trend down. They're now moderate rather than in the high category like they were yesterday. Ragweed, fall elm, and pigweed are low, and some folks across Texas and even south central Texas have seen some good rain in the past week. Will that help out the drought monitor? I'll have those details ahead.
Did you hear her a second ago?
She is thrilled because
there's one small storm on the radar. We'll talk about that in a bit, but it does indicate that, this afternoon there will be a couple of isolated showers and storms. So not rain for everybody, but rain for some. And boy, do we need rain. Take a look at the drought monitor. Just a friendly reminder, drought monitor gets updated tomorrow. So make sure to tune in the morning and at noon for the updated drought monitor. This is the drought monitor that as it stands currently, but since this release of the drought monitor, with exceptional drought across Fredericksburg, Kerrville, San Antonio, up to Austin, Waco, Bryan, College Station, this is how much rain has fallen in the last about 7 days or so. You can see that there is a real big bullseye of the rain right over a part of the hill country that desperately needs the rain. Northern Kerr County, Gillespie County, even out toward Austin, there was a decent amount of rainfall from a hail event, unfortunately, for those areas. And then closer to Houston, you can see there was some rain. One thing I definitely noticed, the big old hole over San Antonio as far as rainfall goes. So while the drought monitor will likely improve for areas across the hill country, it's likely to stay the same right around San Antonio in that I-35 corridor. Here's a look at clouds and temperatures right now. 88 degrees in San Antonio, 85 in Kerrville, 87 in Uvalde, and 94 in Gatula. Zooming in a little bit, can you see that little activity that just popped up right there on the Kendall and Bandera County line? Well, that's a very small storm that you can see there. An isolated storm has popped up near that Kendall and Bandera County line. Let's go ahead and zoom in here. You can see a brief heavy downpour just to the northeast of Pipe Creek, between Bernie and Pipe Creek as well. So even though it's very, very small isolated storm, I think it's an indication of this afternoon around San Antonio. There could be 1 or 2 isolated showers or storms. May cause a bit of a headache for some during the afternoon commute, so keep that in mind as you're heading out and about to pick up kids. 1 or 2 isolated storms out there. Maybe you have to turn on the windshield wipers and slow down a little bit if you happen upon one of those showers or storms. Coverage and chance only 20%. Again, most of us missing out. And by this evening, our rain chances will be done. So looking at your KSAT 12-hour forecast, warming up to about 95, 96 degrees this afternoon between the hours of 2 p.m. and 8 p.m. That's when we have that small window for an isolated shower or storm. And then this evening, things are going to be pretty mild and warm. We'll still be at 80 degrees by midnight. After today's 20% chance for an isolated shower or storm, no rain chances in the forecast for us. Not great news. Not what you want to hear, not what I want to hear, but it's the card we've been dealt with this high pressure system right overhead. Take a look at where the rain is around these areas of low pressure. This high pressure system is going to send these areas of low up and over Texas in the coming days, and it's going to continue to be dry and hot. Take a look at the future cast through the next several days. Low pressure bringing rain to New England and to the northern tier of the United States, but it is going to stay hot around San Antonio and hot, honestly, all the way up to the Great Lakes because of that high. Take a look at the forecast. Again, highs in the low to mid 90s. We'll be monitoring the radar carefully this afternoon. Gusty winds and brief heavy rain if you happen to get lucky and see one of those showers and storms. Ursula, David.
It is an astonishing feat of precision and courage that most of us will not get a chance to experience.
We're talking about jumping out of a plane and then landing on a unicorn.
Ooh. CNN's Jeannie Mose with someone who would do this not once, but twice.
Here's a fantasy for you. Imagine dropping out of the sky and riding a unicorn. Hey, I'm coming for you! No wonder Jan Zackel has a new nickname.
Everybody calls me the unicorn man right now.
At a skydiving festival in England, this instructor at Skydive Langer jumped out of a plane at 6,000 feet, dangling his bare feet, ready to hit the slip and slide that you can barely make out down there. Swooping, they call this. Yeah, girl, I'm coming for ya! You have to have completed at least 200 jumps to compete in the unicorn riding contest. Yeah! Jan has around 2,400 jumps.
It's difficult because it's dangerous.
It took him 2 tries. Hey, girl! About 30 skydivers tried to mount the unicorn. Some came close, but what was a pain in the neck for the unicorn could be a pain in the crotch for the skydiver. I mean, it looks like you're coming in really fast.
Yeah, I think I'm doing like 60, 65 miles an hour.
We've seen a skydiver jump out of a plane riding a unicorn, but actually dropping in on one? The skydiver who does that is about as rare as a unicorn. Coming for ya! Jeannie Mose, CNN, New York.
The poor unicorn.
You never know what you're going to find these days. It is. Speaking of screaming, did you hear that guy screaming? They were screaming with excitement. We're screaming again today about something else.
Let's go to Fiona at Market Square. They're getting ready for Halloween.
That's right. This October is going to be a scream. And to help everyone get excited, we're giving you a preview of a few of the haunted houses where you can, at Hallow Scream at SeaWorld, and how you can score a free family 4-pack of tickets. So that got us thinking of the question of the day. What scares you the most? Scan that QR code and let us know. Well, Cynthia Perez, owner of Tacos Al Carbon, is here to tell us about a surprising moment that happened at their brick and mortar restaurant.
Yes, so Wemby stopped by Sunday afternoon. Couldn't believe it. Wait till you hear what he ordered.
Okay, stick around to find that out, and make sure your baking skills are ready for the holiday season. We've got Jen Reisman here, and besides all the fabulous treats that you make, you of course do wedding cakes. What is the wedding cake trend now?
This year and for all the fall weddings, it's all about pies and dessert platters.
All right, and if you're searching for that perfect gift, how about something with a little Mexican flair? The family-owned shop where you can find something for everyone. Our Jen Tobias Drusky checks it out. All that and more when SA Live continues in just a few minutes.